Live from inside Porsche, Colorado Springs, it's the First Dibs podcast with our hosts, John Deisty and Justin Underwood. Buckle up and let's go for a ride.
Can't explain glacial motion. While Los Angeles don't drop into the ocean.
I'm turning it down.
Glacial motion?
Yeah.
What is that?
The movement of glaciers. I think. That's what I learned about it.
Okay, well, cool.
I can explain it. They move. Or maybe it's moving really slowly.
Maybe.
Like we've been doing.
So on that note, welcome back to the First Dibs podcast.
Everybody.
I'm Justin.
I'm John, and it's Friday.
It's a cold, bitter cold Friday.
Do you know how cold it is?
How cold is it?
It's so cold that I opened a door today, and I broke the door.
That is true. Yeah, the door handle.
Yeah, it just came off in my hand.
Yep. So if you're a locksmith and you're watching this show, call John.
Yeah, give me a shout.
I could get into
I
a
could
car.
use your help. Let's wait until it warms up a little bit. I don't want to go jaggling around inside that door unless it's
horrible time.
Nicer. So that was fun. That was my morning. People may or may not be seeing us. The internet's yelling at us about my bit rate being too low, but hey, we'll work through that.
That's right.
I had a great day.
Yeah, you did. I'd say so.
Yeah, pretty fun. We had. I was here, and my goal today was to do nothing and just use it as a catch-up day. I had my 2 deliveries that I thought were going to be today. Actually came in on Wednesday, so I came in on my day off and handled those. So I thought I'd have a nice just coaster of a day to kind of get through and catch up a little bit. But had a couple come in. They wanted a new Cayenne, white with a black and red interior.
We
had one. Right. So now we don't.
Now we don't.
So that was pretty awesome. I'm really excited for them. First step into Porsche.
Excellent.
And she is over the moon.
Excellent.
So
yeah.
Thanks to you both.
Yeah. No, that's a lot of fun. That is a giant pickup truck.
Yes.
That they came pulling up in.
That was a big one.
Really big.
Yep. And that's what they were trying to get away from. They have also like a Ford Expedition Max thing, one of the giants, and I said, well, this is nice because like you can take it out and park places. Like that's exactly what we're looking for, John.
Yeah.
Cool, we found your car.
Do they have kids?
Yep.
Okay, that would make sense.
Yep.
Because if it was just the 2 of them with those giant vehicles, then holy moly,
That's a little extravagant.
Right.
But yeah, no, so that was good. I didn't slip on my way into work,
that's
even though
good.
I was wearing leather shoes.
That's good.
I brought my Go kit with all of my snow gear and stuff, and we didn't really need it today. So
yeah, that's pretty
good.
Windy.
Yeah. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was great.
Yeah.
I had 2 Thanksgivings. I did one on Wednesday with Catherine and extended family in Arvada. That's always fun. I've been there a number of times, and they're always cool to get together and share some stories. Play some ping pong. I get to play a couple games of ping pong each year at their house.
What kind of ping pong?
Just traditional ping pong.
Okay. No cups on the table?
No, 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 we're not playing that.
Okay.
But that was a lot of fun. And then I had Thanksgiving again yesterday with Catherine and kids, and that was at my house, and we did a turducken. We smoked a turducken. I don't know exactly how long I smoked it for. I was trying to figure it out in my head because I wasn't paying too close to the time. I know that I put it in the smoker. It's somewhere around 8:30 Wednesday night.
Okay.
And then I pulled it out. I want to say, I don't remember. I think it was between 2 and 3 on Thursday.
Wow, that's a pretty hefty run.
Yeah, I mean, when you look up smoking turkeys, they want you to do it, at 200 to 225 degrees maybe for 5 hours is what everything says. And I thought, nah.
That sounds a lot like what I did.
I'm
gonna let you finish your story.
I said, I'm going to let this thing go. It turned out great. What was kind of funny about it is that it was The turducken was stuffed with a Creole seafood jambalaya.
Wow.
So
Crawfish?
Yeah, stuff. Yeah. And that part of it was just kind of like all chopped up, right, for stuffing. But anyway, that was incredibly rich.
Yeah.
Like really, really rich. But I was happy that it came out cooked. I was actually pretty worried about it cooking fully because I'm awful at cooking a turkey in the oven.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's why I wanted to smoke it. So it was smoked at 180 degrees for the whole time, right? But it's cool. Like the exterior, the skin actually got kind of crispy. But it was juicy, right? It was thoroughly cooked. It wasn't dry. It turned out great.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah. Yours, on the other hand,
Also turned out great.
right? Yes, the end result was great.
Well,
But
yes,
getting there,
it took a minute. So here, I'm going to try to,
right?
hold on, don't go video up yet. I'm trying to get my photos in a spot where
Right.
people don't have to look at everything I got on the internet.
We'll see if we can pop this. But yeah, so you had Thanksgiving with your family here in town.
Yep.
And you were...
Well, so every year we deep fry turkeys.
Yep.
And we love it because the skin is very crispy, the inside is very juicy, and it only takes 45 minutes.
That's amazing.
So it's like all of this awesome stuff. The problems are you've got a big open flame and you're boiling oil,
Right.
which you can get multiple uses out of, but it's not like we're frying stuff a lot. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like one-time use peanut oil, I
Sure.
guess, if you will. And every year it's been great. Super simple, tons of fun, and delicious. And
How much oil is, like, roughly? Is it a gallon?
I think it's a 5-gallon. It's either a 3.5 or a 5-gallon jug that we buy.
Okay. But you don't use all of
Yeah, I
that.
use all of it.
You do?
Yeah, I use all of it. Yep. So
But I know that there's a little, like, you have to be smart about it. Right. So how do you measure the amount of oil?
So we have like call it a 30-quart stock pot.
Okay.
And what you do is you load the turkey onto its carrier, so you can pick it up and put it back in. And then you fill that pot with water.
With the turkey
With
in
the
it.
turkey in it. Then you pull the turkey out, and whatever level it's at, you don't want to go over that because that's where it needs to be.
Right. So you mark it.
Yeah.
Where the water
just
level is.
ballpark it.
Yep.
I mean, it's not... What you don't want to do is fill the thing all the way up with oil, heat
Right.
it up, and then put a turkey in it because then it gets displaced, and then you have a big flaming thing in your yard.
Yeah, right. That's how you
So,
set your house on fire.
so, so every year it's been great, and it's worked, and then we have the same equipment, and for some reason this year it didn't quite work. It took an hour for the oil to heat up.
Okay.
It's supposed to take maybe 20. I
Okay.
think. So just there's no heat coming out of the propane burner for
Right.
whatever reason.
Do you want me to
so,
put this on?
Yeah, you can put this on. So what I thought was maybe that's because there's like too much airflow blowing around. It's too cold out. And so
Right.
I put up our slide to kind of block the wind a little bit.
Yeah.
And that didn't really help. So this is me waiting for the oil to heat up.
Okay.
And so finally it got to 250 degrees. When it gets to 250, you're supposed to put the bird in.
Yep.
And then let it come up higher than that for cooking. But if you put it in when the oil's like 300 or 350 where you're supposed to cook it, then it just flashes everything too much.
Sure.
And it can cause boil overs, and it's a little more dangerous. So put the turkey in. We don't have a picture of that. And the temp dropped to like 200 or maybe 150 degrees.
Okay.
Which is not hot enough.
Right.
Part of deep frying, the reason you want to do it is because the oil is hotter than water, so the water expands and it forces the grease out.
Right.
If it's colder than that, the grease gets into whatever it is.
Okay.
So basically, we gave our turkey a lukewarm oil bath for I don't know 2.5 hours waiting for it to cook. And this I gave up on. I after about 45 minutes, I got just too aggravated. So we went over to our grill. And I cranked the grill up with the sear station on. So that brought the temp up at least above boiling.
Wow.
So
Okay.
it helped kind of cook the bird a little bit.
Yeah.
But then when we took it out, it didn't look cooked. It was. We had I have a thermometer in it. You can see the thing kind of magnetized to the grill itself.
Right.
That's a probe thermometer. So it got up to temp, and then so it looked just like a naked, nasty bird, and so it was very unappetizing. So what we did is that is my cigar lighter, and I was using my cigar lighter to try to brown the skin. And I realized quickly that I didn't have enough butane to do that. You can see it's like the skin is blistering a little bit, which actually we brined it for the first time this year. And that was awesome. We soaked it in a saltwater bath for like 12 or 14 hours. And the meat, actually, you could taste it. That was a great thing we'll try to do next year. But so this was taking too long, so we decided that wasn't going to work. So what we did was we turned on the broiler and we put it in the oven. And so there's me watching it broil in the oven. And now basically it's getting like melanoma. It's getting just these little big and brown small skin spots all over that look fairly cancerous. And so we decided that was a bad idea. So we just brought it over to my in-laws as is with its like cancer spots. And then I remembered that Paul had a MAP gas propane torch. So I used the propane torch to finally crisp the skin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway.
That's impressive.
Yeah. And, sometimes I comment that I think maybe I drink too much. I didn't have a drink the whole time I was having this meltdown over the turkey. So I think what I proved is I am not completely a substance abuser.
That is funny.
It tasted good. I'm really mad that it did what it did. So I think I'm going to have to go buy like a much higher BTU burner for next year and just tee it into our natural gas line.
Yeah.
I wonder a little bit if the propane was too cold and just wasn't putting it out enough pressure or something like that, because it was wide open. The tank was full. There weren't any problems there, but I took the burner apart after getting so mad at it, and there was nothing like clogging or blocking the burner.
Sure.
So I don't know. But anyway, that was my turkey experience. So
That's pretty awesome.
yeah,
But hey, you found a way to get it done.
people ate it, me included.
You didn't hear anybody getting sick over it?
No, we all made it. Isla ate a ton of it too.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah. And so what time of the day did you finally get?
We started cooking at noon, expecting to be done by 2.
Okay.
At 3 o'clock, it was probably when it was in the oven.
Okay.
The blowtorch is probably about 4.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Well, good. You made it.
It's just infuriating when you've done something so many times before,
Right.
and it's worked beautifully, and then for something that you can't figure out
Yeah.
to
Sure.
put a wreck on it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
So,
I get it.
yep.
I love the electric smoker. I love it. It's not even mine.
Yeah, but then what happens when it doesn't work?
Yeah, no,
It's like, oh, geez, we're relying on this thing, and now it won't get above 110 degrees, so the smoke isn't smoking. Like,
right.
seriously,
Yep.
I think I probably could have put this thing in my shower and just blasted hot water over it, and I probably would have ended with the same result,
Same thing.
and then blowtorched that. But
Hey, that might be an idea.
but honestly, I mean, like, really, we kind of sous vide the thing. Like, it's just a very long, slow process immersed in oil.
Right.
And in the best part, I don't know. There's no best part, but the because it never got hot, the oil never really expanded like it should.
Yeah.
So like there was a tip of the turkey's butt that never got below the oil. So for the first probably 45 minutes,
Right.
I was ladling hot oil over the butt of the turkey to try to cook it. Now my back hurts. So
That's pretty good.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But the good news is now I get a giant wok burner for my
Yeah.
backyard.
Yeah,
I think
that's awesome.
That'll be more fun.
Did you already order it?
No, but I think I picked out the one I want.
All right.
So
We could permanently mount it into your patio.
yeah,
That'd be kind of fun.
That does sound fun.
Toast an entire bag of marshmallows.
Exactly.
In no time.
Lauren, we're returning the fire pit. I'm putting in my wok burner. We're gonna do some hibachi.
Right. Every night. Oh my gosh. When my friends were in town for the Vikings game, Leah from Minnesota asked if we'd done any, big events or parties in your backyard. So
We keep trying.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Someday we'll do something.
Right. Get there.
Yep, it's ready for it.
Yeah, no, for sure. What kind of business do we have to talk about today?
Well, first, I'd like to thank our team
Oh, yeah.
for hooking up the revolving background
Yes.
for the show, because those of you that watch on YouTube probably notice that sometimes the background will stay the same for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. We've asked them to kind of start rotating stuff. So now they have the Vonnen hybrid system, Kelly Moss Racing Monster Turbo S behind us. Last week it was the Dakar. So
Right.
they're going to, it won't happen every week, but they're taking a note to kind of move stuff around.
Yeah. Randy went for a ride with
Yeah,
Jason in
I know. He came back 5 years younger. Seriously. Did you see that guy? He was vigorous when he came back from that. That blood was pumping.
Oh man, he said it was scary.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, he said Jason.
Yeah.
Randy drove it back from wherever they
Yeah.
went, but anyway, he said he never laid into it, but Jason did on the way out, and Randy had pointed out saying like, "Oh man, I can feel the rear end, kind of breaking loose." And Jason mentioned, he said, "Well, the front end's doing it too."
Yeah. Yeah. 4-wheel drift straight forward.
Right. That's pretty wild. But just sitting here earlier getting ready for the show. It's a gorgeous
good-looking car.
It is a good looking car.
Yeah, it makes me think maybe a 991 Turbo would be a good first car for me.
There you go.
First Porsche.
First sports car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be.
I like it. But yeah, no, speaking of the guys, like we were talking about, we have just an amazing crew right now of our lot guys, of our support. The guy that uses this office actually during the day, Chris, is doing our photography. He's been great. Ross, you can tell, has some definite knowledge, and he just wants to do more, right? Which is great. Patrick has some experience under his belt and just works, like just is here to get things done.
It's nice.
So it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
And it's appreciated and it's noticed.
Very much so.
I think Colby and Paul also did great jobs.
Yeah.
But, they were more limited in what they were more broadly spread in what they were doing. Right now, so having the guys kind of be a little more focused on specific tasks and thing. The extra help has been appreciated.
Very much so. So thank you guys if you're watching or listening. Yeah, we appreciate you very much. So anyway, that's great. And then we'll see what they have coming next week. If we can change the car out, I'm sure it'll be something cool.
Yeah.
And then
Other business. Let's see.
we were closed yesterday.
Yep.
You sold 2 cars Wednesday, but didn't take
No
anything
trades.
on trade.
Yep.
And then you sold a car today.
I took in the 16 agate gray Macan S.
Oh, that's right.
77,000 miles on it, something like that. I think looks like a pretty honest 70,000 mile car. A little bit of rock chipping on the front end. Overall, well taken care of. So that should be a cool one. Probably, I think the last one we had was a $30-something thousand car certified. So somewhere right in that range, and you get a 2-year warranty if we can push it through the CPO process, or maybe you just get something that's even a little bit of a better deal than that.
Yep.
What else? We talked about all of our GT stuff, I think. New Panamera. We could move on to a new Panamera just
Absolutely.
launched.
Yep. And did that launch last night or this morning?
Today, yeah.
It was today.
Yeah, today. Launched in Shanghai, which is where they launched the original back in 2009.
All right. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, that makes sense. Let's see if I'm going to put this up here. I'm going to move this over to our screen.
Okay.
All right. Ta-da! I love that color, by the way.
I do too. And I love the new look. It looks like a really well done Mansory kit.
Yeah.
Right? With the air intake above the line across the car. That's new. The upper intake, at least on the turbo here. I think that's super cool.
That looks really neat. No, I like it. And I mean, you'll go through the slides, but there's the video that we were watching earlier. I mean, it's the same thing with everything else. It's an evolution, not a revolution,
Yep.
right? So it's not drastically different, but I mean, it definitely is different, right? You know, than the previous Panamera. Yeah, and you pointed out center lock wheels.
Yeah, on the turbo.
That's
yeah,
pretty
Turbo's
wild.
doing center locks. I think this is kind of interesting to me. The Macan, we are on the 3rd generation of the Macan on the same platform. Pretty typically with Porsche, they've been doing 2 generations on a platform. Now Panamera, we're on the 3rd generation on that platform. So does that mean with Cayenne, we're going to have, again, a 3rd generation? Obviously, that just was relaunched in 24.
Right.
But maybe they stretch that one out a little bit more too. And how about 911? Maybe the 992 goes to 992.3
Oh, wow.
before we go to anything new. Same thing with, I'm wondering about the Cayman Boxster platform.
Sure.
You know, where they're talking about we're going to the all-electric next, but
Right.
do they do some kind of refresh on the gas-powered cars to stretch the legs of those a little more?
Right, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting observing point to make.
So no more wagons,
Right, the Cross Turismo's no more.
no more executives.
No more executive.
Panamera rear-wheel drive, Panamera 4, and Panamera Turbo Hybrid are the current launches. It sounds like down the line there will be a 4S
Right.
hybrid and possibly another Turbo S hybrid. We don't know what they'll do with the GTS or anything like that. That
Right.
hasn't been leaked or anything. But I think the styling I love, really interesting and new. Kind of brings it up. The interior styling, same story, mirrors very much the new Cayennes. Push button start.
Yeah.
And the big digital dash in
Right.
front of everything. So I think, you know, if I look at this and kind of think what's going on with the 911, it makes me wonder about the future for a manual transmission a lot because everything is going to the shifter right up on the dash. I mean, I guess they've probably had like pre-selector gearboxes up in places like
Right.
that, but
Right.
how do they do that moving forward?
Yeah.
So
No, that's a good point.
we'll find out.
I know, yeah, the manual transmission gets questioned more and more. I had a really good conversation with somebody on the phone just the other day, and yeah, one of their big buying motives is to find a 992 with a manual transmission because they feel that it might be the last time that they put one in a street car. So
That'd be sneaky
it would be.
if they didn't tell us beforehand.
Yeah, very much so. That's just crazy. I mean, it'd be pretty wild. It's wild to think about the manual transmission not being
Yeah,
an option.
it is.
Right. For one of the sports cars. That would be, I don't know what I would think of that if that actually happened. It'd just be kind of disappointing.
It's something I think that's fun that separates Porsche as the brand, right? You can get a new M3 with a manual, but it doesn't get full power.
Sure.
Other than that, you know, there's not a ton of European marks for sure. I mean, Mercedes is gone from that. Ferrari's gone from that. I think the new Lotus you can still get with a stick, unless you get the Mercedes motor, then it's dual clutch only. So there's some stuff out there, but to me that is kind of part of the fun of Porsches. You can
Right.
still pick that even. It's your choice, and that's
Yeah.
part of what Porsche has is choice. So
Speaking of choices, I think I was pointing out to you earlier, I'm a little bit annoyed by the color, not the color choices or what the colors that we can get it in, but like let's just say, for instance, right now you're in the section of dreams,
Yeah.
for color selection. Yeah. So what is it? They have standard,
yeah, contrast,
contrast, right?
black and white.
Yeah, black and white.
What do you want?
Contrast. Yeah.
Yep.
Shades,
Which are shades of black and white.
right?
Jet black, Carrera white, volcano gray, dolomite silver, and ice gray.
Right.
So shades of silver and black.
Right. And then dreams, which whatever. And then below that, the final before paint to sample, legends.
Legends.
Yeah. Like
It's
Porsche.
the Legends of Montego Blue. The new color that is now a classic here at Porsche.
The new color that is now legendary.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, oak green metallic,
Right.
Neo. That can count as a legend.
What does
I
the
like that.
Neo? What does the Neo do?
Means new. It's not the same as the
Neo.
old one. Yeah, it's
So
like,
it's not the same.
yeah, it's a little different.
So come up with a different name.
No, it's oak green.
New
Neo.
oak green
New,
metallic.
the new oak green metallic,
Right.
based on the color from 1960, but new on the Panamera. See it at your local Porsche dealership.
Maybe.
Yeah. Chalk.
Chalk is now
Yep.
a legendary color.
Yes, it is.
Wasn't that introduced with the 2018 GT3?
Thereabouts. Mm-hmm. Maybe 17.
I like Province.
Yeah.
What is that?
I think that's Moon Gem.
Moon Gem.
Moon Gem Neo.
It does.
I'm
look
not
like,
bad at movie voice.
No, it's good.
That's all right.
Good. Yeah, it does look like moon dust. I guess I could see that.
Yeah.
What's the one next to it?
Madeira Gold.
I like that.
That's the one.
I think
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
That would be.
What I had doing the configurator earlier today, what I had a really difficult time with though is putting an interior in it
Yeah.
that I thought, would be pretty cool and kind of safe to go with that color. I mean, if you're not doing black,
I like Purple Berry Crunch. That looks good. Doesn't it look like cereal? Like I feel like that should be a cereal.
Yeah.
Booberry. It's Booberry.
it's blueberry. Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you can't put that interior with that exterior,
Yeah.
right? There's just no. That
The
not
red's,
that.
the red's kind of cool. I
The
could
red's
do-
okay,
yeah.
and then the club leather
Yeah.
espresso. Mm-hmm. I did that one in my little
How about the leather free with Pepita? That's the one.
vegan leather.
Vegan leather with Pepita certs.
Pita, yeah. What's that? That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, that's not bad at all. But anyway, it was kind of fun going through building the car just because I don't know anything about the new Panamera
Nobody does.
yet.
Until,
right.
oh, I can't get my 18 ways with my vegan seats.
I did notice though something that was a little bit striking to me is I put the premium package on it. And then, but you can make all the choices within the premium package. So it worked out being something like a $40,000 option or something like that. I forget what it came to, but it was crazy. I think it was something like a $24,000 option but by the time that you went through and made the selections for it. So I
pretty
thought,
good.
that's a little interesting. I put rear seat entertainment in mine. In which is another annoying thing because there's preparation for rear seat entertainment and rear seat entertainment. And you can't have rear seat entertainment without the preparation, right?
But you can prep without the
But you can
receipt.
prep it without having the actual
Just in
entertainment.
case someday I have kids and they want an iPad in the
Yeah,
back seat.
right. I guess. And then by that time, it's all obsolete stuff. And then, but I just thought it's kind of annoying, right? I mean, like, just if you're gonna have rear seat entertainment, have rear seat entertainment. Don't throw up on the configurator that, oh, by the way, you have to add this to it
Yeah.
as well. Like, shut up. I mean, just
one
you know,
box.
just
One
check
box.
one box. Right?
So about those options.
It just that at that point it made me feel like I was being nickel and dimed. It's like, oh, here's a cool option. Oh, by the way, you would need this other $400 option to make it work. Okay.
Justin's not in new car sales.
No, I'm not. You can tell. No, I am not.
Rear steering.
Which is it's unfortunate. Like I feel so incredibly disconnected from the new car side of things. It's kind of crazy.
Do you want to do my next delivery?
No, I don't
Okay.
actually.
Our client thanks you.
Right? Yeah. Not unless you want to do it again for free.
Yeah. Second deliveries. I think they're important.
They are very
Yeah.
important. I mean,
Always happy to
that's
do
why
that.
we offer them on every single car. Is that
Yeah.
there's a lot going on to these things.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah. Those are the wheels I put on.
I know. That Madeira Gold.
It's
that
cool.
is a winner for sure. I did it with green interior.
I
Yeah.
started with that actually just to think, could this work? But there's one shot. See right there, you can actually see the back of the car in the image.
To that? Yeah, I think that looks good.
So you get the contrast.
It's about golden dollars.
Right. Well, then inside.
Yeah.
So now you can put, what is it? The neodyne carbon,
Yeah.
and then neodyne accents, right, for the door pulls and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. You might be able to actually tie all that together. It's interesting. It's just fun to mess around with a brand new car, right, that you haven't seen in person yet. But anyway, build this stuff, save it. And we totally should just have like we could have people send us their build codes, and then we could pull them up here and
laugh.
film.
Well, that'd be good.
right. Yeah. It'd be like a not, what am I thinking of? Oh, where the Justin Bieber gets up and they make fun of him. A roast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we could
roast people's builds.
Yeah, someone could send us their builds and we'll just roast it. I like that.
Why don't we see how far we can get Ted to go through building a really, really heinous one?
We could try.
Yeah, let's see how far we can go.
And actually, for a show to kind of put on your calendar is the week after Joe gets back.
Yes.
We've decided this is going to be the one opportunity we're going to let Joe get on the microphone.
Did we get the approval
From the other guy?
from anybody? Or are we just doing it?
Oh, we're just going to do it.
All right, good.
Yeah, we don't ask anybody.
I know.
for
I was
permission.
just wondering how far we could broadcast this.
Right. But that's going to be a fascinating
Yeah.
story. And
Do people know? Did we say what he's doing? I think we did.
I think very
He's
briefly.
climbing a volcano
Yes.
in flip-flops.
In flip-flops. With a Dakar.
Yeah.
With
well,
Romain
well,
Dumas.
and not just a Dakar, like the Dakar.
the Dakar.
Like they do if we were Subaru, it would be the Outback Wilderness edition.
Right.
The extra lifted, extra built up, chop off the fender liners and put on 35s.
Right. Yeah. So Romain Dumas is driving the car, but he invited Joe. He asked Joe if he would do this adventure with him down. It's South America.
I
Somewhere.
think it's Chile.
Yeah, Chile.
That's what I remember.
But yeah, climbing a
Tierra del
volcano.
Fuego.
Yeah, climbing a volcano to set a record for the highest elevation of a car or vehicle has ever driven.
It's pretty cool.
Need a cough button. Yeah, 22,600 feet, I think, is what they're trying to get to.
That's way up there.
It is way up there. And do you know what the current record is held by?
Toyota Hilux diesel.
A Unimog,
Oh, all right.
which makes sense,
Yeah.
right? Those things go anywhere and everywhere. I just think it would be awesome.
That built the road, and then
Right,
and then we're gonna drive up the road and pull over the curb for the win. 6 inches for the win. Unimog's like, what? I just built this.
Hey, if 6 inches is all it takes.
That's all it takes sometimes.
I just think that would be super funny.
Record's a record.
Go anywhere. We can go anywhere a Unimog can go and more.
That'll be
That's
cool.
not necessarily true, but
That'll be a really interesting thing to hear about. And
Super.
to put on record too. I think will be fun because I wouldn't expect there will be many media outlets that will have covered it yet.
no. No.
Because all of that will have to be vetted.
Right.
vet.
We don't do that.
Single vet? Yeah. He could be in Hawaii on vacation for all we know, and he'll just make up this story. Doesn't matter to us.
That's okay.
Tell a good story. You can come on our show. We don't need to listen to this lady anymore.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Were you just like
I was
thumbing
just
through? And I'm like,
flinging through stuff. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's pretty cool, that he was asked to do that. But Joe, like part of the story will be awesome because Joe is kind of a fragile guy. Like he's very outdoorsy.
I don't know about fragile. He
He's
just
very-
breaks a lot.
Right. Well, yeah.
That doesn't mean fragile.
He's extremely athletic, right? He was training before he went for this. He was riding his bike again, getting lung capacity up. He was sleeping in his van at 9,000 feet elevation to try and start acclimating his blood,
Sure.
right, for the high elevation and colder temperatures. Like
That's why I sleep on the couch too.
sure.
Yeah.
But so he's telling me some of this stuff, and I said, "You remember when you used to ride your bicycle a lot, and then you would overtrain, before an event?" And he said, "Yeah." He goes, "But I'm not overtraining." He says, He's like, "This is a week before I'm leaving,
Yeah, that's when you're supposed to be carb loading.
So, well, I'm expecting like if he comes back with a finger or two or a toe that's completely dead from
I would just
frostbite-
say 2 teeth.
2 teeth.
2 teeth. 2 teeth next to each
teeth
other.
missing?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if he comes back with some kind of ailment, an issue, I won't be surprised. It'll just be part of the story. Just like, oh yeah, Joe broke both of his legs in a skiing accident. Oh, he lost a finger pushing a Dakar up to 22,000 feet. So you just never know. I'm super excited to hear that
That's so
story.
far up there.
It's way high up there.
Like, yeah.
I'm assuming you have to have oxygen.
I would want it.
Yeah.
I mean, when they race Pikes Peak, they want oxygen,
Yeah, right.
and that's
14.
half as high.
Well,
Rounding error.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, it's pretty impressive what they're doing.
Because what Devil's Playground is 13,
Okay.
so they're double Devil's Playground.
Well, they're going to 22.
Oh, I thought you said 26.
22,000.
They're going to the moon.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, still,
It's a long way.
still a long way up.
It's cool. But that'll be a really fun episode. Are we going to put his face on camera?
We could do just back of the head thing like we
That's
talked
right.
about for guests that don't want to be seen.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be pretty good. Anyway, back to some business. With the Panamera, what else is coming out? What else is Porsche up to? I mean, the Panamera is cool, but that goes so far. What's in the newsroom?
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. We're focusing on that right now.
All right.
That's important.
And then we
We
still
need to
get
know about it.
lots of questions about allocations, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we talk about that. I think we should talk about classic cars.
Oh, that's right. We were going to talk about classic cars. That's actually, when you started to mention about it's cold enough today that a door handle snapped off right in your hand to go move a car, to put it inside on a lift. And I had mentioned to John this morning saying this would actually be something really good to talk about. It's the process of not only selling, but purchasing a classic Porsche car.
Yeah.
And basically it comes up because it's a difficult process.
I like the plaque that's on your desk because Justin has this like, we are Porsche Classic and this is what we believe. And it's like every day I read the news and, I like classic cars and this is important to me. And I understand that people buying Porsche Classic cars require a lot of extra attention. And
Yes.
it's true. And it's not just true of the people, but it's true of the cars.
Right.
Because, we're spoiled that you go outside and you turn your key and the car starts. And
Usually.
like, well, no, they do now. That's what happens. Like, when was the last time you don't have new cars? You can't talk. But like, how about this? When was the last time you had a loaner and you went out to it and it didn't start?
Well, if I was going to be super, I know,
You
never.
started, yeah.
So there was one time, there was one time.
There was one time, sure.
There was one time, and it's not even, it wasn't the car's fault.
Yeah.
It was my fault.
That's what I'm saying.
So, it was a car. I was in a hurry. I had to go pick up my kids.
I left the key inside and it wouldn't start. Fucking stupid car.
No, so the key was inside. The car was sitting out here. I had to haul out of here. I was late. Had to go get kids. I was going to be taking a loaner car to a customer for service and picking up their car the following morning, right? On the way out is Caleb was working here at the time. On the way out, I stop and Caleb said, had a question and then I take off. The key, I didn't realize this. Whoever parked the car out there, they set the key on the dash, like in the corner of the dash, the driver's corner. So when I take off, turn left to go up the hill, I did not notice the key, came right out the window. I mean, I had the window closed except for Caleb stopped to ask me a question, so I had rolled it down. And when I took off, boom, the key went flying out the window. I didn't know that. There was no message that came on the dash that I noticed, key not recognized in a vehicle. But anyway, so I get to my house and I realize, wait a minute, I don't have my pockets. It's not in the cup holder where I would normally just kind of pop it. So I left the car running for a while, could not find it for the life of me. I called down here saying, hey, could you do me a giant favor? Could you look out in the street or something for a key? Sure enough, Caleb found it completely smashed, right? Completely smashed by 8 cars that drove over it. So I figured, well, we got a spare key, at the dealership. I couldn't drive back to the dealership that night. And anyway, so I made sure it was parked in the garage, called the customer. Hey, I'm really, really sorry. This bonehead thing, happened, but this Macan is going to be parked in my garage for a few days, right? Until I get another key. That's the only time that I've ever gone in. But so that's just an embarrassing story.
Yep, good story. But my point still, the car starts.
Yes.
You get up, you want to go to work, you go outside, you start the car starts.
Yeah.
You get in the garage, you start the car starts. You go to a movie, you get in your car starts.
Right. Yep.
Not the same with classic cars. It can be, but the odds and the percentage is much, much lower.
Yep.
I would say if I thought and I had an old car in my garage, if it started 80% of the time when I wanted it to, I would call that a win.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I would think that was good.
Yeah.
And that goes for everything.
Yep.
I think, right? And even a lot of them are older than me.
Yeah.
And have held up better. But
Right.
they still require more. I think even back in the day, they required more than new stuff. Part of the everything you do with it, when they're getting these new cars, they want to make them more civilized, right?
Right.
When you used to have to get out of the car and crank a handle to start it, right? And set your timing right so it didn't backfire and blow your arms off.
Right.
And they've improving that, right? And then as more technology comes, now you've got things that they know to crank over X number of times before they throw a spark to make sure that all the right conditions are going. So when it sparks, it starts.
Right.
So if you're expecting that kind of experience with the classic, that's not what it is.
Right.
And if you're going to go for a very spirited drive and try to shift it like a hot rod, like you would with a new GT3, that's not what an SC's transmission is made for.
Right. No.
So, it takes, even if you grew up with the classics, like my first car was an 89 Volvo. If you put me in an 89 Porsche, I'm going to have a little bit of mechanical sympathy for it, but it's not the same as when it was back then, when I knew, these are the things you had to do to start it,
Right.
and everything like that. So I think even beyond the education of this is what this car is all about, there's some education on this is what classic ownership
Yes.
is about.
Right.
There's a romance to it for sure, but
Yeah.
let's make sure you're adopting the right pet, right?
Right,
If you, do you go on European vacations a lot? And do you want to, when you come back, do you want your car to start?
Right.
I don't know. I don't know how to equate it, but like,
if it pees on the floor, are you just going to smack it on the head?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that's a great analogy. I mean, let's make sure that you're adopting the right pet. I think that's good. It's a lot of work on both sides of the table, whether you're purchasing it or you're selling it. And yes, John, to your point, as far as they require a lot of attention, both the buyer and the seller, with all of that combined. And yeah, because I mean, we talk about it here a lot, but maybe not with the public so much, as far as like kids and dogs. Like, that's what all my analogy pieces. Kids love the idea of a dog, like little kids.
Oh,
love
yeah.
the idea until the dog is staring at them in the face.
Yeah.
And then the kid is kind of like, I don't know if this was such a good idea, right? Same thing with the classic car and just about any consumer for it is they love the idea, like you say, it has a romance to it. But then when they're faced with it, right, head on, a challenge, in front of them, and they don't know how it's going to react or what they need to do to take care of it, it's scary.
Yeah.
It's super scary. So, yeah. And just the other day, there was a great couple here. They started out with GT cars, and this is happening more and more all the time.
Yeah.
And that's why this is a really good topic. They started out with GT cars as being their first Porsche cars. And now they're super interested in the classics, going as far back as they want a 356 Roadster. That ideally for them.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about going...
Nice taste.
Exactly. Amazing taste. But I think what's nice right now is that fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, is we don't have a Roadster in inventory that they would pick up and take home. I think that's actually a good thing right now because they're just entering the waters. So they've been driving the coupes, right, that we have, maybe thinking, well, maybe we get something for the meantime.
Yep.
Well, maybe just the test drives and kind of just getting, being around them. It's almost like that gradual steps type of thing. Because by the time that the process is done, when they're purchasing the Roadster, when we get the right Roadster for them here, I mean, I want to feel just as comfortable as they do, about making the purchase. Just because it's, we're dreams, right? We're into selling dreams and that kind of stuff for people. I want it to be a good dream. I don't want you to wake up and think everything was a nightmare. So it's a process. But yeah, on our side, I think we just need to do a really, really good job of educating the client on what they're getting into. And like you say, people that we deal with is, I've had these cars, I'm around these cars, I'm used to these cars. How? Why, that's the adopting part of it. Is it's the interview. Is this your first dog? Right? Have you ever had a pet before?
Yeah. What other animals are in the home?
Right. Right.
Oh, tell me about that one.
Right.
How long
exactly.
have you had him?
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Are you two married or are you just dating?
Yeah, because this car is going to become attached to both of you,
Right.
and we're not taking them back.
That's right. That's right. For an extra fee, we'll put a chip in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't even imagine what it would be like, though. I mean, well, although I do, to a certain extent. I was going to say, what is it like to be on the consumer side of purchasing a classic car? I mean, for us, we know what these cars are. Let's say the car you broke the door handle off on today. We know about that car.
Yeah.
We don't know everything about that car because we're not the original owners of it, but we know a lot about that car.
But what if you just bought it and brought it home and you broke the door handle?
That would be scary.
Right? Yeah.
That would be scary. Yeah, thinking, oh my God, what did I just buy?
They didn't look at the door handle?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. What?
Yeah.
Like, who doesn't check a door handle?
Lemon.
Well, and I get it because it's your new baby.
Yeah.
And it sucks because it just broke.
Right.
But that's what stuff does.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well,
not in a bad way,
No.
right? And it's all fixable,
Right.
But it just, that door handle had been squeezed one too many times.
and when I'm buying a classic car, it's definitely with a little bit of a different viewpoint of it, right? So when our consumers are buying a classic car, there is no doubt that in the back of their mind, they're planning on having to spend some money on the car, right? Even right after they get it. That's just kind of what they're anticipating.
I don't totally agree with that.
But it's a little bit, right? Like their amount is like, if I got to put wipers on it or whatever,
Okay.
I'm not going to throw
All right.
them away,
Yep.
right? But they're expecting a very nice car,
Yep.
right? Where they don't have to service it right away, that kind of stuff. I get that. But I think everybody, they know it's an old car. There might be something that they want to do. Maybe it's just because it's the way that they are, as an individual. When I'm looking at a car, I'm a classic car, I guess that is. Right off the bat, I mean, a big thing for me is, visually, how's it look like they've been taking care of it? History, what can they prove, that they've been doing to it? But the whole time, right? I mean, I'm starting with a big number, in my brain as far as maintenance, things like that I got to do to it. I kind of start with a big number and then it just grows from there. It very rarely does that number ever shrink down. And I'm not looking at it. I'm not paying for it out of my own pocket, right? I definitely keep the company's best interest at mind. I can't buy these cars thinking or knowing that we're going to lose money, on every one of them that we sell. So I definitely think of it from a business perspective, but I already know, like, okay, the car's got good history. Show me the last time you had the valves adjusted. Oh, that was done 4,000 miles ago. All right, well, that was in 2004.
Yeah.
Right. So I got to do all that stuff. Oh, I put tires on it 500 miles ago. Again, that was in 2004.
Yeah.
Right. So there's different, things there. So I don't want the consumer necessarily to start with that big number, in their brain like I do.
Yeah. Well, that's part of why we want to do everything that we do to them, right? Is to try to limit that.
Exactly.
Shrink that gap and, do the things that we know should be done for a car.
Yeah. And also at the same time, for here, all of these cars, all these classic cars that we're selling, these are intended to be driver cars, like to be driven. And I mean, we've had museum cars. Well, the Emery. I mean, if someone wanted to put that in a collection and never touch it, fine. Then so be it. You could do that because it's gorgeous and you can do that with an Emery. But for us, I mean, being Porsche Colorado Springs, that's why there's engine oil and a filter sitting in the back of it is because we're expecting when you pick up that car, we want to be able to put a fresh oil change on it so we know you can get a few thousand miles out of it before you really have to do anything to it. So, I definitely love the idea of people driving the cars. And that actually I think that gets all of us to open up and talk more about them and kind of get excited. And when someone tells you like, oh no, this car's never going anywhere, it's just going to sit, like, I mean, you're kind of breaking the car's heart.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Well, and I think they do better long-term when you use them.
Oh my gosh.
Because you're going to have to, whatever you think you're not going to have to do, you're going to have to do anyway.
The proof is in the 356s. I mean, just the old 911s that we have. Yeah, when we get out and exercise them, they fire right up.
Yeah.
Right. They drive amazingly well, and then when you let them sit, for a month or two, without moving them, they putt. I mean, you got to drive them around for a while. So, yeah, no, the more that you use them, the more rewarding they will be.
So if you're urging somebody into a classic, are you kind of the like G series and newer? So you get fuel injection? Do you think people can understand carburetors?
Fuel injection, yeah. For me, if you've never been in classic cars, fuel injection. But that's another reason the SCs are so great.
Yep.
The fuel injection. That's what I would try and lean you towards. Just again, the education side. I mean, if you're jumping into a classic car that's carbureted, understand that when you start it up today and it's 30 degrees outside, it's going to run like shit. Versus when you start it up and it's 80 degrees outside, right? It's a totally different animal. What is it? Driving from here to Boulder, it's going to run 6 different ways just due to elevation and temperature changes. But yeah, that's the education side that we have to supply people, is just making sure, like, okay, I know you say that you hear what I'm telling you, but do you really?
Yeah, hold on. Come sit in my office. I'm going to turn the heat on. We're going to hang out in here. It's going to be 90 degrees. We're going to hang out for 20 minutes.
Right. Right. Yeah.
If you like that, you can have something before the 993.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess, if I was guiding, what about you? What do you do? I know a little bit about what your strategy is, and I think you really do adopt the idea of let's find the right car. So let's make sure you're adopting the right one for your family. Because you explain it, but in my eyes, you make people drive like every classic car that we have because they're so radically different.
Yeah, I don't want to talk someone out of something if it's their dream. I just want to help them understand the reality of what it's going to be. Because like my Volvo, it's a 71. It doesn't have power steering. It doesn't have air conditioning, and it hardly runs. I still love that car. I would still, I hope to keep it and make it run better. And I don't care if it's 90 degrees out and I'm driving to Denver. I'll have fun with that.
Right.
That's cool. That's part of the experience that I want. So I'm not trying to tell people that's not, there's no valid reason for them to want that car. I think there's tons of valid reasons. I just want, if you're going to buy it, the cars, the classics we're selling, we were talking about $50,000 to $250,000, air-cooled classic 911s and 356s, and then there's the Emery, right? But it's a big purchase. Let's make sure that you're buying the one that really makes sense for you. So take the time to see, what are the differences between any of them, I guess. The power differences and the sound differences are kind of small things, but as you step through the generations, there's a lot more to it. And, if you saw that car in a movie and you think that's perfect, great. Let's go with it. Or if you just love the way it drives, that's cool. But let's just make sure that you're not expecting something that you can drive like a GT3 up through the canyons with the air conditioning blasting, and service once a year.
Yeah. Right.
So,
No,
I think it's just trying to educate the consumer as part of the sales process. They're not coming to you having just watched a Chris Harris video of him drifting a GT3 around the circuit and saying, I want to do that. It's a different thing.
Yeah. And normally, if you were selling a newer car, let's say you were selling a GT3, right? And we've got multiple GT3s to choose from usually all the time. And if I would see John Deisty, making someone drive like all 9 different GT3s that we'd have, in my brain, I would be upset. I'd be like, John, just land on one effing car.
Yeah.
Right? And then sell that car. On the classic side of things, I can't argue that because I've heard it and I've seen it. I've experienced it. is like you say, people have this idea in their brain of what they're getting, and then you make them drive them, and they realize, oh, this is way too new. Like I'm not looking for this feel.
Yeah.
They just don't know the right way to describe what they're looking for because they've never experienced it.
Yep.
But you could see the consumer where they decide, no, this is way too new feeling, or no, this is way too old feeling. And so finding that balance that's in there.
Yeah.
So I like the strategy with the classic cars is, kind of make them at least walk around, get in. And like you say, if they say no, hands down, I would never do anything. Okay.
Yeah.
That's totally great.
I think that happens with 996s a lot.
Yep.
You know, there was a younger guy that came in to see our 86, and he was looking for something that just kind of said, I've made it, and was a cool, fun to drive, thing. And he understood classic cars and things like that. So I thought it was going to be a good one. And we thought that would make sense. And I brought up, well, if you're looking in this budget range, a 996 turbo, could be pretty cool too. And then you get working air conditioning and you get a lot more power and things like that, he's going to be moving to Texas.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know, if I'm moving to Texas, I would like working air conditioning.
Right.
So, I just try to put myself in his shoes a little bit and he's like, no, I hate the headlights. Like, all right, moving on. I'm not going to push you into that car,
Right.
but just something to think about.
Yeah.
So
That's really good.
yeah.
And we have 996s to choose from. So
I know.
we have, we do have classic cars. We mentioned our 914 that we just got last week. The 1.7 liter, really nice car, super fun to drive. I like hearing tall people describe how they drive that car.
I fit just fine.
It works. Like you make it work.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't think that was a problem.
As long as you can sit crisscross applesauce in the driver's seat.
You just splay it out a little
and
bit.
operate
You
both
shift
feet.
with your knee. Yeah.
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah, the 914, our 86. What else do we have sitting out there? We have an 86 Cabriolet Project that they won't seem to get a wire harness for. We got all kinds of stuff. 996s. We sold some. That's the thing I'm thinking about. The 77 Targa is gone.
Yep.
We sold a few classic cars right in a row.
Yeah, all the Targas went.
Yeah. It's kind of, we have our 964, but that's a donor car.
Yep.
Someone could buy it, though. I would almost rather just someone buy it versus us wait, for someone to buy it as a donor car. So that'd be kind of cool just to make it go away.
List it up.
Right. Yeah. No, we have some cool stuff and even Cayennes, things like that. But anyway, hopefully, someone listening, maybe might drum up some business for some. Oh, small world, real quick, mentioning the friends from Minnesota. This guy that I hadn't met, he's from Salt Lake. He was with Leah from Salt Lake. And my sister says, I forget what we were talking about. And my sister mentioned something about like, oh yeah, Justin works for Porsche, and I'm like, I work at a Porsche dealership, right? No way, right? And I'm thinking, oh man, here we go. And he whips out his phone, and it's a friend of his pulled a 912 out of storage, but he had it loaded on a trailer behind his Cayenne. And anyway, just looking at it, because I told him like that's an early car. I mean, just pictures of it. That's a real early car. And he said supposedly it's 100% original. And it's been stored in this, warehouse thing since like the early 90s or late 80s or something like that. So he's like, yeah, they're pulling the engine and transmission out of it, all that stuff, but he wants to get it going. And I said, well, that's cool. That'll be neat to see that process and how it takes place. But, a 912, and I just mentioned those things have been doing real well lately. So, hopefully he didn't have to spend too much, right, getting a non-running version, but he's going to make it running. It's going to be super cool. And then even that friend told him, he's like, he's not doing it as an investment. It's just awesome. He's like, this is a sweet car, man. I'm going to use this thing. Awesome. Good.
Good for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Barn finds.
Wouldn't
that be fun?
But small world. Anyway, any more business, or is that just about it?
I think that's about it. I think we made it.
We did make it. I definitely want to plug our Porsche Classic Swap Meet happening on December 2nd. I'm totally nervous how that's going to go. As far as if anyone's going to be here, I already know that people aren't really... I didn't do well like describing it because there's people registering to show up, like just to be here, like not to sell anything. Like they're registering just to be here. That's not the point. Like you register... to sell stuff.
Yeah.
So I've already got to call some people and let them know, like, hey,
Better bring something.
thank you. Yeah, thank you for registering. However, I need you to cancel, right? Because I need that spot to open up for someone that's looking to sell something. I'm hoping a ton of people show up for it. So anyway, bring your friends, bring your family. If it's, for December 2nd, it's a Saturday. It's going to be going on pretty much all day. I have no idea what to expect. So hopefully it's a really good turnout either way. We'll see. Either way, we're going to have a lot of fun, no matter what. Maybe sell some cars before the end of the year.
I am sure we will do all those things.
All right.
And what I just realized is I was wrong on the front bumper. It's not Mansory. It's 968 Club Sport.
Look at that. That's pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah.
It took Dan reminding me. He said, don't say the cursed name of Mansory. And I was like, maybe it's not Mansory. And that brought that to my
There you
brain.
go.
So, yeah, the 968 is making a comeback
Yep.
on
And
the
then
Panamera.
Before you know it, it's going to be...
Even with the body color wheels.
Before you know it, there's going to be a two-door coupe
I hope so.
Panamera.
Yep.
And will it be more 928?
928 Neo. That's what they'll call it.
928 Neo.
In oak green metallic. All